Hey Guitar Geeks, Guitar Guts back today to talk about string spacing on Tremolo equipped guitars. Over the years I've found several Ibanez guitars and some other brands that are equipped with locking tremolos that have a problem with string spacing, or so I thought. I'd pick up the guitar and play it, and the string spacing on the wound strings would feel fine, but when I got down to the unwound strings, especially the high E and the B string, sometimes there would be too large of a gap, it felt like, between those two strings. Measuring between the saddles showed that there really wasn't a problem with string spacing. The tremolo was built correctly and they didn't seem to vary much between each other. But still, when I was playing scales, I noticed a fairly large jump that would throw me off when I was playing between the B string and the E string. It seemed like my finger just wasn't hitting in the correct place. And while there is, I suppose, a larger gap there than there are between some of the other strings because of the size of the string, it shouldn't be so much that it's noticeable. Well, I've since learned a trick that solves the problem. It's not a problem of a bad tremolo or bad string spacing from the factory. It's a problem of how you're loading the string into the saddle. Let me show you what I mean. I've got a model set up over here that's going to show us inside one of the saddles and the small locking lug that comes down to lock the string into place. I hope you can handle my high quality graphics here. I have come up with a terrible model to show this, made out of a t-shirt and a pillow. But what you're seeing here is the groove that the string lies in inside the saddle, and then the string coming down into that groove to be locked into place. There would then be a locking block, a small metal piece that you screw down behind that to lock that string into place. It locks it down into the groove where you can't pull the string back out while playing. And that's the piece that you're adjusting when you use the little hex wrench to tighten the screw down on the back of the locking block. That piece locks it into place. Now on the wound strings, the groove in the saddle is cut to about the right size for those wound strings. The problem is that they're all cut to that size. They're all cut for the larger wound strings to fit in, and the wound string fits in it fairly well. It fills up the entire groove, and there's not really a way to get it off center, to turn it sideways inside that groove, because it's so big that it fills it up perfectly and it sits straight in that slot. But when you start installing the smaller unwound strings, there's a lot of play. You still have a large groove because all the saddles are the same, but when you get that string in there, it is possible to get it sideways, to get it crooked in the slot, so that when, and I'm exaggerating here, but when your string lock block comes down behind it as you screw it down, it's possible to have that string off center to where it's not heading straight up the groove like it should be, where the locking block's coming down straight on it. You can have it off to either side, leaning a little bit out or leaning a little bit in toward the other strings. It's almost imperceptible when you're trying to screw it down. You really have to look close and make absolutely sure that the front piece on that locking block, the piece that contacts the strings, are exactly parallel with the string itself, so that they come down exactly parallel. If you've got that string just a little bit off, then it will come out of the groove up top at an incorrect angle, and that can, if it's leaning this way, put it closer to the B string and give you too little gap between those two strings, or, and I found this is more commonly the case, leaning outward just a hair to where it leans away from the B string. And it's almost harder to see than it is to feel. I can tell now when I've got one just a little bit off center and I'm playing, I'll look down and find that it is just a little bit catty corner in the string slot. And you can adjust it. You can release the tension on the string, take the locking block away, straighten that string up exactly perfect, hold it in place, and lock that down. And don't be afraid to try it a couple of times if you get it off center just a little bit. It's even possible, I've found, and I've seen this on several guitars that other people have set up that I've tried to restring, it's possible to have that string so far over to the side that the locking block misses it, goes past it, but locks the string into place just from side contact against it. And that really throws the string off center as it comes out of that string slot. So the next time you pick up an Ibanez, if you're a shredder and you sense a little bit of disparity between the string spacing, check and see if you've got that string coming out of the slot exactly parallel with that locking block. Because if you don't, it can produce just a little bit of a stumble as you transition from string to string because they're not exactly where they need to be. Well, I hope that helps. If you have the same problem that I do, maybe that'll cure the problem. And I hope that increases your enjoyment of playing. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.